expression. Right? I think that's better. Okay. Much love, many blessings. Happy Wednesday. Okay. Okay, much love, many blessings, and happy Wednesday. Wednesday is the day that Mercury shines its planetary energy, so it's usually a good day for us to be considerate of our thoughts, perceptions, and how we're communicating. So, obviously being hump day, we find that it's a great day to figure out what tempo and plans that we want to do, and really just see how we're like expressing that energy. Like if there's a plan of action that we want to put out, then this is the best time to do it because we get to see what's available, what we have presented to us. So, the moon is in Leo right now. And moon sign usually stays in moon placements or transitions usually last for about 2.5 days. So it was in Leo yesterday, which is why we felt the intensity that we felt. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Coco. Hey, Danny. So it's why we felt the intensity we felt, because when the moon is in Leo can be very intense, very, very dramatic. It's a very theatrical sign, and every energy has a polarity. So, like, yesterday, we might have been feeling like, okay, like, why does it feel like there's this extra energy? Why does it feel like there's this extra weight, but is it just gas? But it was feeling more of like a negative impact because it was just the extraness from people, extraness from drivers, the passive aggressiveness, the emotional flare-ups. Because a lot of times when we're dealing with Leo, especially when it initially gets started, it's like that from 0 to 100, in the blink of an eye. So a lot of times, and if whatever state we're in, that'll be amplified. So if we were starting out the day in a state that was kind of like, oh, well, shit, I got all this crap to do, or I have all these obligations, we might be feeling the weight, especially if we're not feeling the motivation, or we're not necessarily, like I said, seeing the light in the situation. One of the things I was pointing out, then Leo can swing both ways. Leo can get very depressed. Leo can be a very depressive sign when it's not getting its way. Hey, thanks, Thomas, for tuning in. Many blessings. But yeah, so Leo yesterday, and as we're transitioning today, the weather is a lot better. So, once Leo gets out of its its brooding state, or just feeling that it doesn't have what it is that it wants, Leo can start to exhibit that shine, exhibit that courage, and those elements that just show that light force that, hey, I can do anything, I have everything available to me. And because Leo is the sign of, I think it's the fifth house. So, we're going to be dealing with children. We're going to be dealing with creativity, playfulness. So when the moon is in Leo and we're dealing with that aspect, we're dealing with the more creative side of ourselves, the more playful side of ourselves. And we generally, we need that aspect, especially if we're dealing with pleasure mindfulness and kink mindfulness, because a lot of times when we're being an adult, we're required to put those Leo aspects, if we have Leo placements, or put those childlike aspects away. That's too much fire. That's too much intensity. That's too much theatrics. So that's where our creative force comes from. So when we're dealing with our imagination, we're dealing with pleasure, then we have to speak to the areas where pleasure resides. We have to speak to emotion. Emotion resides in the sacral chakra. Emotion resides in the heart chakra. So we have to deal with those aspects and make sure that those areas are healthy. So if we have resistances to those pleasure centers, we might have ego blockages in our crown chakra, or we might not be dealing with manipulation in our root chakra, then we're going to be putting strain on the areas where the sacral and the heart chakra, where these emotions can flow and the authenticity can flow for what it is that we consider pleasure, personal pleasure, because there's obviously a definition for what pleasure is, but the definition of pleasure is what we keep going by, which is the issue. We keep going by the standard of pleasure, the patriarchal society of pleasure. And pleasure at the end of the day is very masculine based, is very penis focused, penis envy focused, and anything outside of that doesn't really fucking matter. So a lot of times, that's great if you're a guy, I guess, but like if you're anything else where this mold is not falling into you, you should be questioning, why am I following a model that does not work for me? Why am I following a pleasure model that is not working for me? You're essentially reading a book that doesn't have shit to do with you. Are you taking a class? Like, because we're supposed to be living life. We're supposed to be enjoying pleasure. So like with this Leo feeling today, we're on the hump day. We're on Wednesday. Wednesday is a Mercury day. It's a day of communication. And the moon sign is in Leo. So we should really be bringing attention and awareness to our creative centers and our pleasure centers, and how we can enjoy those pleasures of our heart. Why are we denying those pleasures to our heart? You know, how can the Leo energy this season really help us to channel those sparks that are coming back, igniting back for us during this time? So, and it's very important to have a pleasure mindset, because when we work, we are working for a purpose. Where, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. It has to mean something. It has to add up to something. You know, we live in a very scientific society. Our language is very scientific. We have a lot of scientific words. We have a lot of different ways, ologies, you know, and things, isms. Those words, those things, we can define science. We can build fucking bridges. We can build skyscrapers, because our language that's what we're focused on. But our love language, we only have one word in our language for love. We only have very select words for love, intimacy, and pleasure. There's one word in our language for love. So that means that as a society, as the English language, it's not that important to us. You know, we talk about it, but we don't really live it. We have literally one way to describe it. It's like, okay, how much do you love me? Do you love me like a friend? Do you love me, you know, as this casual love? You know, no emotional obligations. Is this band of brothers? You know, is this gay love? Is this undying friendship? Is this eternal love? It's like, and you look at other languages, I think you can look at like the Hindu language. There's like 88 words for love, and there's ways to describe the variances or the frequencies of what love is, because it's important. So we have to develop our pleasure language, our personal love language, because we might just be operating off of just the one. It's like, you know, it's like a fucking artist or a painter asking you what color it is, and you say red, and they're like, well, that might be maroon, that might be beige, that might be pink, that might be some other color. Okay, is this love? What kind of love is this? What kind of pleasure are we trying to experience today? What kind of pleasure are we trying to create the spark for? And, you know, Leo energy is that energy that I believe it can really give us the motivation for discovering what those sparks, what that energy is speaking to us. Because when we have imagination, that's working with sacral chakra. We're working, because imagination is creating something from nothing. So we're dealing with the sacral chakra. We're activating the sacral chakra. When we activate the sacral chakra, we activate the emotions. A lot of us don't know how to discern if a feeling is okay, because we don't work with the sacral chakra. We don't work with our emotions. We were told at a young age, we were imprinted that we put a stamp on our sacral chakra. It was like, no, emotions are childlike, they're immature. When you don't feel like doing something, then that means you're considering your emotions over your logical mind. So that's not as important. So let's lock that away. Let's put more energy in other areas of our energy center than we do on the ones that are important. So your sacral chakra probably doesn't get a lot of stimulation. You probably don't understand the language of your emotions. You probably don't understand the language of your imagination. And if you don't understand the language of your imagination, how are you supposed to fucking manifest? Because imagination comes from the sacral chakra. The something from nothing, if you translate the source words of the Sanskrit for sacral chakra, it is something from nothing. So we're dealing with the pleasure center in the sacral chakra. We're dealing with imagination. We're dealing with emotions. And all these things are fundamentals and catalysts that reside within a space where we want to feel more emotions, we want to feel better sex, we want to feel better pleasure, but we're not working with the energy centers that are either being influenced or corrupted by those very things. How are we supposed to be sex positive if we still have a corrupted notion of what sexuality is? We still are not moving on the body positive. So that means that everything sexual, everything pleasurable, when we start to feel it, is automatically considered wrong. So even if you can choose to still do it, you're still operating under the programming that is at best a guilty pleasure. So it's like really a great like time right now, especially with this day, if the weather's feeling really good for you, this moon is in Leo, is like to really get out of our thinking, out of our ego, and step into our imagination, step into that creative space where we just allow things to be. Because imagination is the opposite of always asking cynical questions like why? Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? A blessing starts to manifest in your life. Like, whoa, what is this? This is different. And we start to hold up things, and instead of saying why not? Why can't it be that way? Why can't I be a millionaire? Why can't I just feel great ass fucking pleasure? Why can't I have this relationship? Why can't I have this expansion? Why can't I feel this fucking empowered about myself for no fucking reason? Why not instead of why? So, like, when we're dealing with pleasure, like, a lot of times, like, you know, we tell ourselves what pleasure is, you know, but, like, pleasure is, it's really such a thin line between pain and pleasure, because it's all neural. It's like the actual act, the sensation of pleasure is as a feeling, and feeling is relative. It's literally relative. It's like, it's all neural feeling. So pain and pleasure is just a trigger response in your body, and the neural system is affected by your crown chakra. So you may be experiencing something that you could be bound up, you could be getting scratched really hard, but you might live for that. That's pain, but you're enjoying the pleasure of the pain. So how is that sexual act translating into our lives, our spiritual lives, where how are we going after the pains? Are we going for pleasures that might be painful? Are we subjecting ourselves to things that we've been experiencing so much pain for so long that when pleasure comes into the picture, we're like, well, what the fuck is that? You know, because sometimes when we go against our norms, then we start to question everything, and then spirit starts to say, whoa, what's the issue? When you start to ask questions, spirit says, what's the issue? Is something wrong? So spirit is always just trying to give you what it is you personally want. So this is why it's so important to reprogram ourselves from things that we tell ourselves are good and tell ourselves that are bad, instead of actually being good and bad, because spirit is always just going to align you with what you want. So really today is a great day to do the thing, to put your energy towards the things that you want, to communicate with your body and the people around you the things that you want, playing on that whole Mercury Day, Wednesday vibe, and just honoring the Leo energy that may be a spark and igniting within your space right now, is to just allow that illumination, because Leo is the sign of the sun, and to allow that illumination of what you're feeling. If you feel things coming up in your solar plexus, if you feel things coming up within your energy body, instead of downplaying it, allow the illumination, the sun energy, to illuminate what your body is speaking, what's being illuminated for you now, so that you can discover the pleasures of your body and the pleasures for yourself. And I hope this message is resonating with you. Man, I fucking forgot. I was actually about to pull a sacred self-care message. Yeah, because we definitely want to know how we can embody that, because like we may feel these things within our spirit, but we also want to know how we can embody that, or how we can make that a real reality for us, and embrace that energy for ourselves. Oh, you got a lot of energy. Okay. It's very fitting. Sacred self-care. When we deal with the sacred, we deal with the divine feminine. So we deal with the state that wants to honor healing and emotion and bring out the higher self. You want to connect with your higher self, you need to work with the divine feminine. You need to meditate. You need to work with those areas of yourself that you may not spend the most time with. When we need clarity, when we need a neural flush, when we need to know clearly what's real and what's not, and what instead of what we're trying to make it, we need to flush our crown chakra, because we have to make sense of everything that is we believe, that we feel, and then how we interact and project it out into the world around us. Sometimes we may be in denial that something is what it is. We might tell ourselves that, you know, this isn't hot, this isn't cold. So are we denying the neural responses that we feel? Are we denying the reality of a poor toxic relationship isn't actually a toxic relationship? Isn't that a neural response of denying the pain, what's really pain, what's really pleasure? You know, if we're denying reality, or we're denying that we're not happy, or we're telling ourselves that we're happy in a burnt out relationship, or a burnt out dynamic, a burnt out reality, then isn't that the same as well as denying or not knowing what real pleasure is? Sweet treat. Yeah, might need a heavy decadent thing to know or discern. It's probably been a while. Okay. So we have sweet treats. The divine feminine oracle message. We have sweet treats. So sweet treats coming up, especially sometimes we don't take that moment to indulge in something that we really want to do. And speaking on the theme of what is pleasure, and it's coming up today, I would say there's been a long time since you've actually done something for you without having fear or question that it's okay. You always have to check with somebody else to know if it's all right. You always have sometimes you're grading yourself or you're judging yourself, and you don't do the things that you actually enjoy. And when your spirit hasn't had something sweet in a while, sweet representing as above so below, sweets representing that, taking that chance on something that actually makes you feel good, that gives you that comfort sensation. Sometimes we have to indulge in lower vibrational foods or things that might not be the most nutritious for us, because sometimes we have to have that opportunity to treat ourselves right. We have to have the opportunity to cater to ourselves, to serve ourselves, to make ourselves feel that it's okay to enjoy something. And that's just the bottom line. Like, we might be in this space where we're either not indulging in anything, or when we do go to do something, we might go to eat that fucking Krispy Kreme donut. But after we eat it, we spend the rest of the day brooding over the fact that we're about to gain these extra calories and all this shit. And it's like, did you really enjoy that? It's like, if you do something and then after the fact you question it or you brood over all day, then you didn't really enjoy it. You know, it's got side effects. But some of y'all are so used to side effects that you don't question side effects in your real life. You take medicines that do one fucking thing and then give you 20 fucking side effects, and you think that shit is okay. And it's not. That's side effects. You didn't enjoy the experience. You took one thing and you got 15 other things with it. So it's defeating the whole purpose. There's more cons than pros in a situation. If you eat the fucking Krispy Kreme donut and you're sitting up here hung up in your head, hung up in your heart about, oh shit, now I look fat, now I gain these calories, blah, 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 then why did you do it? We're not supposed to be doing anything that has side effects. We're not supposed to be doing anything that we hang ourselves up about after the fact. So we have two other messages here. Like I said, sweet treats, sync with the moon. Moon is in Leo. I'll touch on that in a moment. And we have intuition. So this is definitely a confirmation that we're not relying on what it is that we already know and feel. We need to be trusting what it is that we know and feel. And we may be feeling it, but we might not be honoring it, which is the calling for the synchronicity. You got to honor the phase. You got to honor the season. The moon changes often. So that means that this is the wisdom of adapting. The sun changes 365 days a year. So that means that what you get is what it is. When the sun is doing what it does, when masculine energy is the sun sign. That's why men, we don't change our minds very often. We're pretty set on our ways. Moon energy, feminine, it changes often. So that means you got to adjust. There's other possibilities. Stop coming the same way. If you're feeling this within your spirit, you didn't feel this way before, but you're feeling it now. You're feeling it now. So now is the time, sweet treats. Now is the time to honor your intuition and to be honest about what sweetness that you need in your life. Some of you have too much salt, too much embitterment, too much cynicism. You're taking in too much salt, too much dopamine is in your system and on your brain, in your bloodstream. You got too many salty thoughts. You're too salty about life in general. You're salty about the people you look at. You're taking in too much fucking salt. You need to eat something sweet. You need to get some sweetness in your space. You need to smell some flowers. You need to take a sweet treat, bake something sweet, say something nice, make a honey jar, do something that creates the essence of the divine honey or the divine sweetness in your space, or things are going to be sour for you. So we're dealing with pleasure, and what is pleasure? Moon in Leo, and Leo is really just telling us to take that chance. Stop questioning things. Just allow your imaginations to soar. Allow your heart to be free. Connect with your inner child. Because when we deal with Leo, we deal with the inner child. And it's been a long time since you've trusted, not questioning. Every time we deal with children or the inner child, they just know. But if we spend so much time on the ego blocks us that connection that we want to have intrinsically with the inner child. And the inner child is all about pleasure. The inner child is not concerned about the mores and the social norms of the world. And when we don't honor that connection we have with ours, we tell ourselves that what society wants and the external projections are more important than what we want and what we feel. And we don't, you never question children, you never question the inner child, because it already knows. It's never questioned itself. The only times it feels traumatized is when we force or beat it into conforming, and then it goes into shadow, and it's very delicate. So sometimes it might get locked away. So there's also a call that with this illumination and the Leo moon, that we're feeling some whisper, some of it's been very long for you. So it might be a little dry. The throat chakra might be blocked up in that area with some old past things that you've forgotten about, some old past feelings that you used to enjoy, some old past things that you want to explore, that you left bookmarked, that it's time for you to get back into. Much love, many blessings. I hope that this message is resonating with your spirit. Ultimately, I want you guys to enjoy the rest of this day, enjoy the rest of your week. And there's a lot of really good things in store. I find that sometimes, like when I'm trying to create content, that like when I'm not posting or putting up as much content as I would like, whether like I get busy with just fucking life, and just other obligations and things. Sometimes I feel really bad because like while I don't take social media seriously, there is a part of me that is like, okay, this is you, this represents you. So sometimes I just want to give more. Like there'll always be all this content that even if I'm not posting it, I want to make time to provide more. So I find myself wanting to really amp things up and just really just put out a lot of the content and the things that I've been thinking on, and just really just express those things. So definitely my goal between like now and next week, with if time permits, well, that's relative, to just be seeing more activity, more engagement, and things of that nature. So there's definitely many blessings and things in store during this time. Many blessings, guys. Thanks for tuning in. But I definitely want to drop more content because, like speaking on the whole thing of pleasure is really another thing of weighing what's making you happy and why you're happy and not happy, and who you're doing things for. And because I had to realize what I'm doing, the things that I do for. And sometimes like I can, like as a perfectionist, and maybe it's part of my Scorpio sun, is like I can get really bogged down and then feel like, well, damn, I didn't complete this thing, or I didn't get this out, and then I'll not want to do anything, and I'll kind of want to go inward, because it's like, well, damn, let me just pull back. And sometimes like we have to remember that like when we're getting away from the pleasures or the things that we truly are passionate about, that we want to do, and we're not doing those things, or we're not doing it the way that we like, sometimes we might pull out entirely because we don't feel that it's being represented for ourselves the way we would like it to be. So this is really a call as much for myself and the collective to sweet treats, take it easy, be easy on yourself, allow yourself to understand what it is you're doing, sync with the moon. For any of you that are synced up on these cycles right now, it's a good time to honor yourself. Make sure that you're balancing your pH, not letting things in you that shouldn't be in you. If you're not protecting your personal boundaries, then you're not also protecting your body and what your body's energy is saying to you. So, balancing your pH, making sure that you're clean and clear, don't have foreign energy in you. When you're synced up with the moon, you're going to be more sensitive. You got to honor your body. You got to honor your body in many aspects. So that during this creative time, speaking more to the feminine functionality and divine feminine, especially those with the womb chakra and the creative force and creative center, it's really an important time to not second guess yourself. Really honor that solar plexus. Solar plexus is your where you establish your self-esteem and personal boundaries, and it's where your fire creative force really comes into momentum. So really, this is also a very strong time with this Leo moon today, and honoring what pleasure is because when you have the motivations in your sacral chakra, that's where your emotions are going to come from. But when the solar plexus is where we actually put the foot to action. So you want to feel that confidence within self, and to be speaking to yourself, and to be bringing that mindfulness to yourself, so that you can feel confident in your personal pleasures without having to validate or check with other people. It should be valid just within yourself. So what this day is about is really just honoring that personal pleasure within yourself, honoring your energy system, honoring the synchronicity of what your personal body is feeling, and going with what it is that you know, so that you can make those things a reality. But yes, like I was saying, definitely enjoy the rest of this week. Many blessings. I wish many each and every one of you many blessings this week, and to resonate with this week with what is mindful for your spirit and what works best for your authentic walk. Much love, many blessings, and ashe.